I've had a son, Leo. He's 13 months, 14 months now. I can't wait to get him.
Congrats again, by the way.
Thank you. I can't wait to get him in it. My dad never got me into these sports. He was always working and so forth, which is understandable. First generation. I'm not complaining, but I think it's so important for the development. And and getting back to this street fight thing that I was telling you earlier, I was lucky that I've had a little bit of moves before the UFC blew up.
It takes you a long way.
It took me a long way, but goddamn, can you imagine nowadays getting in a fight with somebody on the street? You don't know what they're capable of.
Well, it's fun. I was in 6th grade, the first fight I ever got into, and it was simply because a kid wanted to play body shots with me. Yeah. He just wanted to, trade punches back and forth, but to the body. And it was after school. We go up to, there's like a church. So I went to Abbott Middle School in San Mateo.
Okay.
And there's a church right above the hill.
Yeah.
And in the church, there's like a little corridor or whatever. And we went in the corridor and there's like maybe 6 of us. So it's me and him and everybody else is just recording.
Right outside of God's house.
Right outside of God's house.
Oh, man.
And we just started exchanging punches. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm in 6th grade at the time. You know what I'm saying?
You don't know.
No, not
nowadays, I don't know if they fight or not, but you could catch somebody that's like skilled and you...
So he ends up like, so I'm thinking we're just going body shots, and he started punching me in the face. I'm like,
oh my goodness.
Okay, so this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I remember I picked him up, I slammed him on the ground, and I like got on top of him. I was about to start swinging, and then his arm was right there. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna rip your arm off. Like I do jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna rip your arm off. And I armbarred him.
Oh wow, you're kidding me.
I swear to God.
Did you snap?
Did he tap? Did you snap? Or you were like, I'm gonna break it? I got pulled off the kid. And I was in 6th grade. This kid's name, what was his name? I don't remember. But if you're out there, if you're watching, hey, no harm, man. Years ago, I wish you all the best.
Don't contact us.
Whatever. If you ever see this, all jokes. All
dude,
jokes
that's
aside.
crazy. And I've always thanked God that I didn't come across. I mean, I didn't fight with punks, but at a nightclub, it's a completely different setting. We're outside, 3-on-3, 2-on-2, drinks. You name it.
That's not fun.
It's not. It's not a good thing.
No, not at all.
What is your favorite thing about jiu-jitsu? It could be like, that's a good question.
That's a very broad question.
And it's a very broad question, but you could give me like what really stands out to you. And I want to dive in further with like making money in jiu-jitsu potentially, which you kind of know, but where, this is a gray area and it's an up and coming sport and it's bigger than it's ever been. But what's your favorite part about jiu-jitsu? Like, is it the techniques? Is it human chess? Is it the camaraderie?
So I think I would have to break it down a little bit more than just one thing. Okay. For me, it's always, every sport that I've played has always been, I've always been big on family.
Okay. So
for me, it's always feeling at home and feeling, being able to train somewhere where I can call home.
Okay.
And now that I'm I grew up, so I started jiu-jitsu at Marco Nascimento.
Okay. That's on El Camino here.
On El Camino. So it used to be in Foster City.
Okay.
And then they moved to El Camino. And then me and my dad were there for a while. And then we ended up leaving and we ended up at Half Gracie San Francisco. And we were there for, 12 years, I would say.
Wow.
So my dad still trains there.
Yeah.
But after I competed at the Santa Cruz Open a few months back.
That was at IBJJF?
Yeah, IBJJF Santa Cruz Open. Mm-hmm. I actually ended up leaving RGSF after that tournament and transferring over to train with Caio Terra and all the guys over there. Primarily, nothing against my people at RGSF. Sure. I love all you guys. Tay Crivello, great professor. Holland, Half, everybody.
I would say is one of my favorite people.
Yes. And I message him all the time. Me and him always go back and forth and just catching up and everything. Love everybody over there and nothing bad towards them. And I'll be over there to visit sometime soon, guys. I promise. Love all of you with all my heart. But yeah, so I ended up transferring over to Caio Terra, and it gave me a push that I needed.
Okay.
A push where I knew it was gonna make me a better competitor and an even better person, because it just opened up my eyes to life and what the whole sport is about.
And let me ask you that, and maybe you could give a little brief to the audience who Caio Terra is.
Yeah.
Maybe mispronounced, I apologize in advance, but just give me an idea of who that person is briefly, and then we'll get right back at it.
So Caio Terra is a 12-time Jiu-Jitsu world champion, 10 times no-gi, 2 in the gi.
So this is the real deal.
The real deal. So amazing coach, amazing person.
And he's young too, I think, right?
36, 37.
Than I am. That's scary.
Like He really, and he still trains with us, which is the best part.
Oh, he does. Okay.
He still trains with us, which is the best part. And it's just so incredible to be able to pick his brain about jiu-jitsu because he's a jiu-jitsu genius.
Wow.
Every little position, no matter what it may be, he has it covered.
That's awesome.
It's insane.
And they're welcoming over there, and they
open
took
arms,
you on.
Open arm. Him, and Nick. So Nick is also Clothing. They're one of my sponsors. They sponsor like my gis and everything.
Okay.
Great human beings.
So let's talk about that. That's awesome. And I would imagine they're very competition focused there.
Yes, very.
That's
very.
Different than like a family gym, guys.
Completely.
And so is Half Gracie. They're mixed, right? I would say mixed.
Little bit of both. Half Gracie is more on the family side aspect of it, more than competition, and that's primarily why I had to get up and get going and make the move to Gautaha because I needed that push.
You needed the fierceness, and you wanted to compete, and you also wanted to, from what I understand, get into MMA.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about briefly about the sponsorships.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because people don't know what could happen is you could get sponsored to do these competitions if you're well known. So give me a little bit about that, how that works, how you can make some money off that, because that's very important as well. As a lot of people do this like religiously, but they haven't figured out how to monetize it or how to make money off it, right? That's a big one.
So when it comes to the sport, you can be anybody and you can be super good at it, but if you don't know how to properly market yourself and create a name for yourself, you're not gonna get anywhere with it.
Okay.
So when it comes to the whole thing, these companies want to see how much noise you can make and if it's in the way that they support it.
Okay.
Right? I'm lucky enough where Nick is able to sponsor me, also Clothing is able to sponsor me and provide me with gis and provide me with the things that I need in order to be and compete at the best level that I can. Not only do they sponsor me, but my hair product company, Little Legends Worldwide.
You got good hair, bro.
Curly hair. So shout out to them. They keep my hair looking good. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Right?
Yep.
Good connections. They keep my hair looking good. So Little Legends Worldwide, guys, check it out. Great company. So it's all about how you can market yourself to the audience, right? They want to
doing a podcast here.
Like doing a podcast, exactly. It's like every little thing, but in a positive way that's going to shine light on the company to, generate whatever it may be, whether it's people to check it out, buy a few products, or even, recommend it to a friend if they're looking for something, which is super great. And
then during, let's say, a competition where there's a lot of eyes, you're wearing their badge or branding.
So with Os Clothing, for example, every time I go and compete, I'm always wearing their gear. I'm always wearing my Os Clothing gear. I'll have all my sponsors on the back of my gi along with my name and everything. So when I'm competing, everybody knows who I am. Win, lose, or draw, whatever it may be, people are going to remember my name.
That's awesome.
They're going to remember what I'm wearing. They're going to remember this, and that. Why? Because I stand out. I'm putting myself out there so they remember. Excellent. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to like these big time athletes in jiu-jitsu specifically, they're making money off these brand deals.
Yeah, they're making good money. Yeah. Especially the top.
Yeah, right? The top. But so it's hard to make money off jiu-jitsu, but it's possible.
I think, and again, novice here, I think it's starting to get really possible. Yeah, it's getting to I think Saudi Arabia made jiu-jitsu.
So Abu Dhabi
did.
Abu Dhabi has been really big around jiu-jitsu for ages now. Because ADCC, correct me if I'm wrong in the audience, people, comments down below. ADCC originally started in Abu Dhabi or by a group of people from Abu Dhabi.
I know that.
And it grew on from there. So they really, I think it's either Abu Dhabi or Dubai, one or the other. Yeah. But they really, really love the sport of jiu-jitsu.
It's awesome. It's masculine.
Yes.
I mean, that's another thing we need to talk about is the
masculinity of jiu-jitsu.
The sport.
Yeah.
So, and they have the money, so they can make it what they want to make it.
So
and they're competing big time. They're not only doing that in jiu-jitsu nowadays. I see them offering, $1 billion to a soccer player, a football player, an international football player.
Jiu-jitsu's on the rise. It's getting to that level where people are like, oh, you do jiu-jitsu? Oh, damn, that's crazy.
They know about it.
Exactly. And the money is starting to come with it. Like back in the day, if you look at a lot of the OGs of the sport, they had a really big struggle. Andre Galvão, Leandro Lo, if you listen to the podcast that they had, they specifically taught about how they were barely surviving off, I think it was like a cheeseburger for dinner.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
And they were really putting their bodies on the line.
Completely training 3 times a day and everything, biking home for 30 minutes or whatever it may be, and just to train all day. But the thing is, right, people will do everything they can to make it a living, whether it's teaching at school, picking up extra jobs until they could fully make it, you know, their full-time career.
And you know what's interesting? I think MMA is the same way in some regards.
Yes.
I had, surprisingly, before we moved into this warehouse, randomly the mover comes in. Salim is his name. He's trains with Khabib. In
AKA?
Yeah.
San Jose.
So he did Bellator fights. He won a few of those Bellator fights. And he was a mover, and I saw his ears, and they were all puffy. And I'm like, bro, do you do jiu-jitsu? He's like, no, I sambo. So he was, he's like, I do professional fighting. But it didn't pay him enough from what he says, and he has a second job, like a company, so a moving company.
Right.
So even nowadays, even some of these UFC guys, I think they were, before becoming, you know, obviously Conor McGregor or any of the other guys out there, Dustin Poirier, they had these little side jobs.
If you watched the fights last week, I'm not sure if you did, but they had the final of the Ultimate Fighters on the prelim cards, and two of the finalists for the lightweight finals, they were both like full-time teachers.
Crazy.
Full-time teachers, and they're fighting in the finals of the UFC, and they both ended up getting contracts.
That's crazy.
Which is insane.
That's awesome.
Right?
And they were teachers.
It's crazy to think, right?
I wish my teacher would use some karate or something.
It would be crazy.
Now, listen, I'm all for advancement, and it just shows volumes of, they literally had two jobs and one wasn't paying.
Yes.
And then they took a shot.
Until it does. And
like, hopefully this podcast.
Follow your kids. If you're out there, you're watching, follow your dreams. It will work out. I promise.
So one of your favorite things we just concluded would probably be
the family aspect.
The family aspect
of it, for sure.
All right. Let's talk about something, why you think someone watching today needs to get into jiu-jitsu, or even into wrestling, but jiu-jitsu particularly, because that's what